Alright, what's up guys? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Play TCG match, and once again, my opponent for this match is going to be GunMonkey696. This is a match we had a while ago. I'm not sure when this video is actually going to get up, but it was one night about a week ago from the time I'm recording this, and this is just one of those nights where things did not go my way. I lost almost every match we played, which is funny because it was the exact opposite of the last time we played. I just couldn't seem to get my decks working here, so unfortunately I was only able to get one match recorded from the night, and it was this one. And of course the one right after this one, as I was processing this video, turned out to be a lot better than this one, but this is still a pretty decent match, so I'm glad that I was at least able to get this one and upload it. So I'm playing Darkrai and Friends here, and he's going to be playing a CMT variant. Unfortunately for him, he's forced to lead Lone Terrakion, and he just attaches an energy and passes. So that right away signals that his hand is going to be really weak. And since I had the choice between Juniper and N in my opening hand, I didn't want to N and put him into a new hand, so I actually Ultra Ball away two of my Ns and play the Juniper instead, which I suppose would be a questionable decision, but I think it was an okay call because he's shown that his hand is very weak, and not allowing him to have a supporter is going to let me set up for a few turns. So I use that switch to get into Smeargle. Since he did play down the Sky Arrow, I don't have to worry about needing to retreat. And I see that in fact he doesn't have a supporter. He's just got a bunch of catchers and energy, and that means he's probably not going to be doing a whole lot for at least the next turn or two, and it gives me a little bit of time to get going here. So you'll notice that I did choose to drop the Mewtwo here just because I feel like I need it as an attacker. I didn't have a Tornadus. Tornadus probably would have been the better choice, but I didn't have that option. I wanted to get the Smeargle instead just to have it down. And so I'm going to be forced to do some attacking with Mewtwo, at least while this Terrakion's out here, because obviously Darkrai is not that great against Terrakion that's powered up. So he actually catches out Darkrai here and hits it for 40. I flip heads on that SSU, which is great. It allows me to pick Darkrai up, get that damage off of him, and that means that even if he draws into another fighting energy this turn, he will not be able to take a prize on my Darkrai. I do opt to bench it back down because I want to play it down and get the Violet on it, and I still wanted to use that Oak, so I didn't want to shuffle that stuff back into my hand, as having Darkrai on the bench is obviously really helpful because of his ability. So that's why I chose to do that. In retrospect, it turns out it's probably not necessary since I did draw into another Darkrai, and it wouldn't really have mattered. But I flipped double heads on the dual ball, and I basically just played it to get it out of my deck. I don't actually need anything, so I just opt to grab Smeargle and Shaman. It's always nice to have Shaman around. Such an amazing card, especially in this deck. So here he plays his second catcher, which I should have seen coming because I looked at his hand, and he hits Darkrai again. And now I'm kind of stuck as far as my hand goes. I have no energy, and looking over to his side of the field, I see that he only has one card in his hand, but I know that the probability of him drawing into a supporter here is fairly high just because he hasn't played any. So he's gonna hit one pretty soon, and I really needed to get something going here. So I opt to play that N, even though it's not ideal. I needed to keep my hand going, and I really wanted to be able to take a prize. I didn't want to risk passing that turn without doing anything, because that was the only option I had, and then risking him top decking either a fighting energy or a way to get a supporter. That would have let him take out my Darkrai, and that would have been pretty bad. So I do put him into a new hand here, but it allows me to keep my side of the field flowing, and I actually am able to take out that Terrakion. And with that thing off the field, it's going to make Darkrai a lot stronger because I don't have to worry about a Retaliate now. So luckily I hit the energy off of the N and am able to retreat the Darkrai and take the prize with Mewtwo. So he starts getting some momentum here, gets that Tornadus down, gets some energy on it. He uses Force Breath first and then plays the Oak. At this point, the game decides to lag out for me a little bit, so I apologize. I will try to keep you guys up to date on what's going on, but he flips double heads here, so he's going to grab Mewtwo and Smeargle, I believe. Obviously, two solid choices, especially with me having a Mewtwo out there with 2 energy on it. If he's able to get 3 on his, he can just take 2 prizes on it. And now things are going to happen a little bit out of order, but he goes for the Power Blast, and I put the damage on, but he actually attaches the energy and flips the tails, so he is forced to discard that energy. I'm not sure how I feel about him putting the 4th energy down, knowing that I have a Mewtwo out. It's basically just giving me free damage. So I look at my discard pile here, trying to decide if there's anything I want to Junk Arm for. I'm tempted to take the Max Potion, but without Shaman, it's not going to do me a whole lot of good because I wouldn't be able to attack. I could have Junk Armed everything to get a Dual Ball and a Max Potion, but then I would have had to play my hand down to 0. I guess I could have got a supporter, but in the end, I decided I really am not too worried about this Mewtwo going down, because I know I have another one in my deck, and I know that Darkrai will be ready to go, and if I get the first attack off, I will have the advantage against Mewtwo. So here we get Mewtwo, DCE, and X-Ball for KO, which is unfortunate for me because I started the Mewtwo war and he was able to respond first. So that might cause me some problems, but as I had just said before, I was prepared for that to happen. I was kind of assuming it would. So here I top deck my Shaman a turn too late. It would have been really nice to have that last turn, but I go for the Portrait, and I see that he's actually got an Oak, which is great. That's probably the best supporter he could have had right there. I guess an N would have been pretty strong as well, but I go ahead and copy his Oak. Do not get a supporter of my own. I don't really get anything here except Catcher, so that will be nice. It'll mean that I can take a prize on this Tornadus and stay competitive in the prize race, but other than that, my hand doesn't have really anywhere to go, so I'm probably going to need to use Smeargle again in the next couple of turns, which shouldn't be a big deal. That's why Smeargle's in the deck, so that when you get into hands like this, you do not lose immediately. And one of the big advantages that Darkrai has over CMT is that Celebi has that magic 60 HP, so 2 Night Spears will take it out, and that means you get basically a free extra prize. Every 2 turns you're able to attack with Darkrai, so I'm going to go ahead and Night Spear, put 30 on Celebi, and that means that I'm going to be able to kill it now with another Night Spear whenever I want to. So he is going to respond. He drops a Tornadus, puts in a Violite on it. Will not need to worry about that thing for at least another turn, though. Unless, I guess if he has a DCE, he could Power Blast this turn. But that would be not a huge deal. Probably. My bigger concern is the Mewtwo he has, because it's not safe to play mine until I take his out. And he actually goes for the Super Rod and puts Terrakion back in the deck too. So now I need to be worried about that as well. But he opts to just stack energy on his own Mewtwo and then come after me with that, going for the 2-hit KO. And it may seem a little silly, but he actually didn't know that I played 2 Mewtwo in the deck at this point. So he assumed that he had taken out my only Mewtwo and that he was free to sweep with his, but that is obviously not the case, so he was not very excited to see that I was able to just plop down Mewtwo DCE and respond to his, and it just goes to show you what a huge deal Mewtwo still is. It's still probably the best card in the game, and it's still going to win or lose games depending on how you play it. So he got a lot over aggressive with his, and now it's going to come back and bite him in the butt. So I decided to drop down the second Smeargle because why not? And then X-Ball for the KO. So that is going to take out his Mewtwo and put me down to 1 prize. So he's in a lot of trouble here. If he takes out my Darkrai, Mewtwo can come in and ruin his day. If he tries to go for Mewtwo and he doesn't kill Darkrai this turn, then I just kill a Celebi for the KO next turn. So he's going to try and get his Terrakion going here, and he's going to play it on a plus power and then go for the Juniper. His plan was to try and kill Darkrai, which is actually a good plan. I'd probably, as soon as he played the Juniper, I should have just showed him that I had the catcher, because that was the game there. But what's going to happen is we're actually going to get a little bit confused as to what's going on here and how many switches he's played. Because there you'll see that was his manual retreat. He didn't play a switch to get into that Smeargle. So later that's going to come into play because he needs to get a Fighting Energy and a Grass Energy onto the Terrakion. And he's not quite going to be able to do it because he would need 2 switches in order to do that. He'd have to switch into Celebi to Forest Breath and switch again into Terrakion. And we just got a little bit confused as to whether or not he had used his retreat for the turn, and he had. So here he goes for the Juniper, looking for a lot of stuff. He needs 5 cards. He needs a catcher, Fighting Energy, Grass Energy, and 2 switches in order to win the game. And so at this point, I think we were talking about what he needs. So he actually junk arms away his energy for the catcher to drag Darkrai up. And I think, I don't know why he just discarded all of those energies. But I think at this point we realized that the game is over. So he didn't have the resources he needed to get the attack off is what it boiled down to. And even if he had, I still had the game because I had a catcher. So that is going to end the match. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. And hopefully I will have another match coming your way before too long. It's just getting a little bit difficult for me to get enough matches to put up a lot like I used to. So just fingers crossed that the next version of TCGO will be up before too much longer, and I'll be able to get back to a regular upload schedule. But that's going to do it for this one, so thanks for watching, guys.